Good evening, YouTube. HeirofCarthage here, back at another Total War Warhammer online battle. This is like a very, very small dwarf army going up against the Greenskins, and the person who sent this to me said that this would be a fun replay, and I was like, sure, I'll take a look at it. Basically, he's gone for a very elite dwarf army that's going to be buffed by Thorgrim. He's got 2 Thanes and a runesmith, or sorry, 3 Thanes and a runesmith, so again, a very, very small elite dwarf army. There's some iron breakers up front. Dwarf warriors, and he's also got some long beards with great weapons because I was, you know, again, all these units, if they're close enough to the heroes, will be majorly buffed. I see orc boys and 1 biggin, 1 black orc in the center, another biggin there. Out here on the flank, you've got 3 boar boy biggins with a goblin big boss, and then 2 more poor boy biggins out here, and another goblin big boss. So a rush army from the orcs here. Night goblin shaman. Is that going to be their leader? I don't think this is the leader. Where's their war boss? Oh, here he is over here. So a war boss and 2 biggins. So there's 2 biggins on each flank. It's going to be interesting to see if the dwarfs can stop this much cavalry. Their units are going to be majorly strong, though, in melee because of the buffs coming off of Thorgrim, the runesmith, and then you have the Thanes with their potions. So they're very few in number, but the dwarves are going to be very powerful. 2 black orcs that I'm seeing now, too. So 2 black orcs, and black orcs are extremely potent infantry. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not the dwarfs can win this. I wouldn't pick them to win this battle. But, I mean, this is kind of what dwarfs have to do. They have to be in pretty few in number, and they have to kind of band together for protection against cavalry. We'll see if it works. The Longbeards with great weapons do not have a charge defense, which is going to weaken them pretty considerably. Quarrelers are opening fire, and Quarrelers should do well against most orc units, given the time to get some shots. The Night Goblin Shaman could drop a Curse into Bad Moon right here, and that's exactly what I would do if I was the Greenskins. I would definitely drop the Curse into Bad Moon right in the middle of that blobbed up dwarf pile there. Black Orcs taking some nasty damage here. Iron Breakers dropping the bombs on the biggins. That's going to mess up the biggins pretty bad. Here comes the charges from the Orc Boar Boy biggins. We're getting buffs. The Rune of Negation right in time for the charge. Actually very nicely done by the dwarf player. So he's going to negate 44% of the damage of this charge. So that is actually going to be pretty substantial. So very nice use of the Runesmith there. All the buffs coming in for the dwarfs. But here comes Itchy Nuisance. So it's taking away a ton of melee attack and damage for the dwarfs. Iron Breakers holding the line up front, almost undamaged from the initial charge. Here comes the blob of heroes, or at least some of them. The Runesmith's still out here on his own. The Greenskin player could have surrounded this dwarf a little bit better, but now they're going to find themselves engaged, in my opinion, with a very well-buffed dwarf army. Let's look at all these boar boys, the Iron Breakers up front, holding their ground. There's another spell being cast here by the Sneaky Stabbin' coming in. So the Longbeards with great weapons over here, they are suffering badly. They are suffering big time. Looks like the Thanes went over to this side. Would have liked to have seen at least a Thane try and come and hold all this back, but this flank's getting overloaded. Let's see whether or not. So the Iron Breakers are holding out. The Quarrelers are still alive, but not for long potentially. The Night Goblin Shaman should have probably been hit by the Quarrelers, or at least trying to hit the boar boys. This blob up, the orcs definitely blobbed up a little too much, and it's certainly helping. The Iron Breakers are pulling out. Looks like, yeah, it looks like they're pulling out because they're being chased. They're attacked in the rear. Longbeards with great weapons. I mean, over here the Black Orcs are getting overwhelmed by heroes. Lots of boar boys though, and the Quarrelers being hit. Downhill charges from the boar boys, that's got to be fairly devastating. The Iron Breakers, though, are getting a ton of kills for Iron Breakers. So now the orcs are completely piled in behind the... this is a massive blob here. Like I said, Curse of the Bad Moon at the beginning would have been fantastic. There's a lot of magic going on. Looks like Sneaky Stabbing for the orcs, Rune of Negation's up, and Itchy Nuisance as well. So the magic being used by the Greenskins here trying to buff their army. The Thanes and Thorgrim, though, are pretty much untouched, and they are doing a lot of damage over here. The Black Orcs are gone. This Ironbreaker's got 53 kills. This one's at 69 kills. Melee attacks being affected by Itchy Nuisance, which is a fantastic spell from the Lore of the Little Wobbit. The magic has got to start running low here for the Greenskins, and at that point, I think it's going to look really, really bad. Yeah, look at this big, massive brawl going on here. The small dwarf army surrounded. We got the Potion of Healing going on for one of the Thanes. Deadly Onslaught. Another healing potion there for one of the Thanes. The Boar Boy Biggins probably should have been cycle charging in and out of here. There's a very healthy Black Orc. All these guys got hit by Sneaky Stabbing, so they were doing even more damage. Ironbreakers at 61 kills there. 90 kills for these Ironbreakers. So this is one of the few times I've seen Ironbreakers actually get a whole lot of work done. Thorgrim's here. And in this particular army, the Greenskins don't have a great answer to Thorgrim. He's going to get a ton of kills. He's not bad in melee. He does magic damage. He's kind of just getting nudged around right now, though, and he's really not even getting any hits in. It's kind of weird how Lords will glitch that way. There comes Itchy Nuisance once again. More magic coming out of the Great Goblin Shaman than I expected, but this is a very close fight, really. The Greenskins had it by numbers, but the Dwarves had so much quality here that they're having a hard time overcoming it. They really needed to get the cavalry out and behind the Dwarf units and do a lot more painful charges. Yeah, Itchy Nuisance right now hurting all the Dwarfs. Let's look at the Thanes. The Thanes each getting a respectable number of kills at this point. Thorgrim is now taking heavy damage because he's being attacked by a Goblin Big Boss and the Orc War Boss. There is a buff coming from Thorgrim, but if he dies, then there will also be a buff to the Dwarf units. That's the one problem with Thorgrim in the current state of the game, is that Thorgrim doesn't have healing potions, and almost everything else does. But one of the Goblin Big Bosses routes out there. That's going to take away some poison damage, and if this other one, yep, the other one routes as well. So the poison damage is now going to be gone for the Greenskins, and there's going to be some general wavering going on here for a lot of Greenskin units. The Night Goblin Shaman went into combat, so needless to say, he was probably out of magic. 122 kills on that Ironbreaker. The Black Orcs here got destroyed somehow. I'm not sure when that happened. Just look at the bloodiness of this fight here. This is absolutely insane. There's the Orc War Boss, covered in blood. Thorgrim covered in blood. All these units fighting. You can see Thanes back there. So Thorgrim is holding out. These Ironbreakers have held out the entire time. There's the Night Goblin Shaman. He can't last too much longer in this combat, I wouldn't think. He's got to be in rough shape. Look at the blasting charges coming off some of the Ironbreakers. There's Thorgrim getting some hits in. The Orc War Boss doing some charging against Thorgrim. Thorgrim just ate it. Just bought the farm, but there should be a buff from Thorgrim that sticks around even after he's dead. Now that he's died, the Dwarfs will be getting some buffs, so the only unit right now left is the War Boss. The Runesmith is still alive. That's a huge mistake on the part of the Greenskins. Let's check out the War Boss running away from the blasting charges. This unit of Ironbreakers, I have never seen a unit of Ironbreakers do this well. With all the buffs that it was getting from the Runesmith and Thorgrim. Look at this, the Thane and these guys chasing the War Boss. He's like, nah, seriously, I'm good. A lot of the Orc units have come back from routing, but they're going to have to be regrouped, and this Goblin Big Boss came back and got completely replenished, but it is exhausted, so this is going to be a problem for the Dwarves. So there's still quite a bit of fight left here in the Greenskins. Let's kind of see how it goes down. Here's the very small remaining Dwarf force getting charged by Boar Boys. Again, I would have liked to have seen the Boar Boys, instead of blobbing in, coming in from all directions and pinning units down. We got the Rune of Oath and Steel, Foe Seeker, Deadly Onslaught. This Ironbreaker right here finally routs at 74 kills. There's 32 Ironbreakers left here at 130 kills. Their health is dropping steadily, but the Greenskin morale is definitely suffering. The Thanes are getting very nice kills, as one might expect. What about the Runesmith? I think he's still alive because I saw his buffs a moment ago. I see the 3 Thanes. Did the Runesmith die in that charge? I think he did, because I don't see the Runesmith. Yeah, the Runesmith died, so it's 3 Thanes, and the Ironbreaker routed, but it's going to come back. So 25 Ironbreakers may come back, I should say. But the loss of the Runesmith is big, because it was given some massive buffs, but the Thanes should be able to hold their own. It's a matter of how many times these Boarboy Biggins and others are going to come back that could sway this battle. The War Boss has had potions, and so have the Thanes, but with 3 Thanes left, I think it's going to be looking ugly for the War Boss, because he's going to get surrounded, and he's going to start to take a lot of damage, but he is mobile, so we'll see how that plays out, and he can try and wait for more and more units to come back, but we have units shattering. These Boarboy Biggins are going to get off the battlefield before they come back, so this is a pretty big loss for the Greenskins there in terms of usefulness. Yeah, these guys are shattered. These ones just sitting over here wavering, so the big boss is going to try and cycle charge along with the goblin. Yeah, the goblin big boss and the war boss are going to try and cycle. If I were the dwarves, I'd come stand up right there on the very peak of that hill. It would give them the best defensive position, but it looks like they want to hunt down these regrouped units while the big boss and the war boss focus in on the Ironbreakers. And the Ironbreakers are finally killed. Those 2 units put up a pretty spectacular fight. And of course the Thanes are just going to absolutely pummel this blob over here. So the 3 Thanes getting rid of the Orc Biggins and completely routing that Biggin, and then the Boarboy Biggin. So at this point it's just going to be a Goblin Big Boss and a War Boss versus 3 Thanes, and the Thanes are all completely healed. So this is going to be pretty rough. I don't see the Greenskins pulling this one back, but again, they do have mobility. That Ironbreaker hasn't routed yet. Holy cow. There's only 6 of them left. 134 kills. The Ironbreaker... We'll have to see how many chevrons are on that thing. Check it out. So one of the Thanes taking a little bit of damage, but the War Boss is taking some damage as well. But Wah being punched there. Let's see if the... so the War Boss is using a potion of healing. So that's why his health's staying up. So this Thane is going down. It's not going to have another potion, it looks like. Goblin Big Boss getting beat down pretty hard by the other 2 Thanes. But yeah, that Thane didn't die. And I don't know if the Big Boss has another potion either. The War Boss, his potion should be worn off at this point. Yeah, you can see he takes big damage when he gets stuck in combat. Let's see, something got used by the Thanes here. The Foe Seeker. So their speed and vigor is increased. Oh, the Goblin Big Boss just ate it. So now it's just down to the Orc War Boss and the 3 Thanes. And it looks like these guys are going to defeat the Orc War Boss. The Orc War Boss would have had to try and cycle charge over and over again, and since he can't hit all the Thanes, it wouldn't work out for him. This is actually a pretty cool battle. I've never seen a very elite small dwarf army actually pull this off. I do think the Greenskins had the tools to win this. I don't think that they used their Boarboy Biggins properly. If they would have gotten more rear charges on these Ironbreakers earlier on, like gotten all the way around the formation, gotten to the Quarrelers a little quicker, they could have done it. But this just proves, I think, that if a Greenskin player isn't careful about which units they target, so the Runesmith was targeted too late, the Quarrelers were targeted a little too late, and then the Quarrelers would have cleared the way for a rear charge into these Ironbreakers, which killed a lot of units. And I mean, if we look at the Greenskin side, just none of their guys getting many kills, because first of all, there wasn't a lot of dwarfs on the field, but that was really interesting. Kind of like that. Hope that you all enjoyed this one. I hope that you like the battle, and hope you like seeing the dwarves. Do you ever try this with the dwarves? Do you ever go for like the small elite holdout type army? And if so, have you had it work very often, or do you end up usually getting beat by the people who bring this type of army? Just kind of curious how it turns out. like I said, hope you enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out. If you or I said if you do enjoy it, there's a logo down in the bottom right-hand corner. Feel free to subscribe to see more. I hope to see you back next time. And also, before I go, thanks to MSI for having sponsored the build. HeirofCarthage signing out.